Maido! Hi there, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about pressure when speaking. Eigo desu. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. This is the 7th year of the Sales Japan series podcast, broadcasting around the world from the Beverly Hills of Japan, Minato-ku here in downtown Tokyo. It is chic central. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, the president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery in Japanese, Anata mo Purezen Tachijin. Plus, stop wasting money on training, which in Japanese is training de okane o muda ni suru no wa yamimashou. And all are available on Amazon. Through this podcast, I want to help you to become a better speaker, to be 1, clear, 2, confident, 3, persuasive, and 4, highly influential with those around you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn. Unlike many other hosting organizations, Libsyn have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on Apple Podcasts. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast. Tuesday, the Presentations Japan series, and every second Tuesday, the Business Tachijin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series, and every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcasto Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast, and Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Now, this is episode number 366. Today, we are talking about what do you do when you get a last-minute request to speak. Just in time works extremely well for Toyota when making cars on the assembly line, but it is not so great for a speaker. Normally, we have weeks to prepare and think about the talk, gather our thoughts, do our planning, create the slide deck, and then we have time to rehearse. That rehearsal part is so key because we can understand the cadence and the total time required for that amount of content. We have time to adjust things if we find we need more content or if we need to trim it down to fit into the time allowed. No great warning time is a different animal. It is not as bad, though, as no warning whatsoever. In this case, you're calmly sitting there, listening to proceedings when, without any prior discussion, the MC invites you to the stage to make a few remarks. I always find this a weird idea. We all know that most people are terrified of humiliating themselves in public by having to speak in front of a crowd, and yet the MC suddenly springs his obligation on some poor, unsuspecting soul. This is a very masochistic idea, in my view, and there is never any reason for this to be unceremoniously sprung on people. Even a few minutes warning is so much easier for the speaker. We have a little time to compose ourselves, think about what we're going to say. My last experience of having been called to speak with absolutely no idea that would be the case had me walking 10 paces from my seat to the microphone. I don't know about you, but I found that a very insufficient period of time to think of something to say. By some miracle, I managed to say something, and this particular case was required to be in Japanese, so there's also that additional burden being placed on my brain. I reflected later. How hard would it have been for the MC to tell me beforehand, I'm going to invite you to the stage, say a few words in a moment, so please be ready. He didn't do that. He didn't do me that consideration, unfortunately. In a recent case, I was given a late-night warning that I'd be speaking the next lunchtime. In this case, I could have refused and said I won't or can't do it, but I said yes. The reason for that reply is simple. I have a policy to accept all invitations to speak because I see these as opportunities to work on my public speaking ability. I deliver a tremendous amount of training in the classroom, but that is not the same as public speaking. Standing up in front of a crowd of strangers has its own dimension, and the best way to master that dimension is to do as much speaking as possible. That speech was number 553. I keep a record of when, what was the topic, and who invited me, and you might be wondering why I do that. I have a big enough ego already, so I don't do it to bask in my grandiose glory as a public speaker. I started doing this when I got back to Japan in 1992. As the Australian Consul in Nagoya, I was asked to do a lot of talks. The Japanese are very good at record keeping, I discovered. It was potentially embarrassing to be asked back to speak again to the same group and not remember who the group were or what I spoke about last time. Hence the record keeping. When I started, I had no expectation that I'd get up to 553. Find out more when we come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public courses, but we also do custom in-house programs, as well as we do them in both Japanese and English. We do them face-to-face in our super safe classroom, and we do them live online. The show today is being brought to you on the 10th of November by our 3-day Leadership Training for Managers course. Also in November, on the 16th and 17th, we're doing our high-impact presentations in Japanese. And on December 7th, we're doing our flagship Dale Carnegie course. We'll do the 3-day version. Go to our website at www.dale-carnegie, carnegie.co.jp. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, which in Japanese is Zaegyo. This is the Bible for selling in Japan. Japan Business Mastery, Japan Presentations Mastery, plus Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni Sunu wa Yamimashou, and all are available on Amazon. If you like learning by watching videos, we have nearly 2,000 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's the premier business show on Japan every Monday, Tokyo time. Fridays, we have the Japan Business Mastery Show, and on Saturdays, we release Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders from small and medium enterprises all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. In this case, I had a few hours to think about what I could say. They had specified the topic, so that narrowed things down considerably. They wanted an informed style of talk about doing business in Japan. I would not be using a slide deck, so I just created a 1-page of notes on the chapters in the talk. That was my navigation, and I wouldn't be reading from this page. I'm rather vain about not wearing my glasses when I speak, as I don't like barriers between me and my audience, so I make the fonts very large so I can read them without spectacles. Having had the topic specified and being an informed style of talk, I could then think about the content, the main body of the talk. My talk chapters would provide insights into doing business here. I needed 2 more things, though. I needed a blockbuster opening to grab the attention of the audience, and I needed a close. In this case, there wouldn't be a question time, so no need for a second close for after questions. When the audiences turn up for a talk, their minds are already full of stuff. As the speaker, I need to clear all of that out and force them to concentrate on what I am saying. This is where the opening is key. Saying some bromide like, "Thank you for inviting me to speak," won't cut through all the white noise in their minds. We need something stronger. And we can say our thank you after the opening. In this case, my opening was, the Japanese business community, basically, isn't interested in doing business with you. That opener was guaranteed to grab this overseas audience's attention because they are hoping to do some business here in Japan. At the other end, the purpose of the close is to make sure that my key message will be ringing in the ears of the people gathered after I've finished my talk. Recency means we remember best what we heard last. So I want to make sure I can use that to my advantage. We tend to remember the start and the finish of talks, so we need to pay careful attention to how we structure these elements. Even a short time for preparation is a luxury compared to no time at all, so I was glad to have a smidgen of time to work on the talk. Thank you for joining the Sales Japan series. If you found the program useful, then please work on your karma and share this with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Immediately apply what you've learned today. Go out there and survive. Use it and make some serious money. Bucks, dough, moolah, coin, dosh, lolly, readies, smackers, earners, and bread and honey. Remember, I'm in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.